Okay, here we go. What I really love about all of these podcasts and just these videos, this content that I've been producing is that I don't feel the need to put on a ton of makeup or to get ready or to be like hyper focused. I'd much rather be like on the couch or cooking in the kitchen, or right now I'm on the Peloton and just talking like as if you're my best friend, because essentially like that's the energy I want to be able to provide. I don't want to be like I'm better than you or I know better. Like I'd rather just have a conversation about self-improvement and personal journey and what's really worked for me, and to be able to share that. So no, I don't want to be perfect. I'm super confident with who I am. Like, I know I'm beautiful. I know I'm very like kind-hearted, and I know I live an abundant life. So I got nothing to prove. I'd just rather share this with you and share my wisdom, share my experiences, and be able to help to shift your reality, which is actually what I'm doing here. Is as I'm like working on my body here and just working on my health overall, I've been drinking a lot more juices. I've been, you know, not doing anything bad, quote unquote, and just really investing a lot of health and a lot of good vibes into my physical health. But here we go. This is my conversation with you about how to completely shift your reality. And I'm going to do it with the ideology of my last year, because my last year has been filled with a lot of just like wide turns. Like, like you're going on a road and you're like, oh, this is my journey. This is where I'm headed. And then like sharp turn. Okay, detour. Like that was my last year. It was just filled with a lot of detours. And I am excited I got to go on those. I learned some lessons. Some were really, really hard. And then others really opened up my capacity to be just fully authentic and to not be afraid of some of my sides that I have, some of my personality traits that as a young girl I was told, keep those down, or no one's going to love you if you don't do this. And I was able to really embrace myself fully this year. So I'll get into that a little bit, but I want to talk about just reality overall. And if you are watching this and you're like, I don't even want to watch this anymore, like I'm tuning her out, this is not for me, then just hold on a little bit longer, because I'm going to get you from A to B, I promise. So last year, pretty much this time, I was in a terrible relationship. I was in a relationship where he was just emotionally and verbally abusive. He always was telling me I wasn't good enough or something was wrong with me, and that I wasn't meeting the standards that he wanted. And then because of that, he was trying to hold things over me, especially a lot of things that had to do with like finance. And it was very horrible. Yeah, living in that doesn't even sound good. So with that, I was actually strong enough to leave him. And that was the type of relationship that if I would have like carried on, I would have been well off as far as like financially. I would have never had to work again. I would have been able to like live in New York City, like, a rather luxurious life. But I would have been completely dead on the inside because of how horrible he treated me as a person. So that took a lot of courage for me to walk away, but it did really mess with some of my self-concept and my reality as far as like my worth goes. So pretty much overnight, I was like, I'm out of it. It was actually Christmas time. Whenever I finally was just like, I'm set, I'm done. I deserve so much more than this. I love myself more than any amount of money in the world, and I'm walking away from this. So I broke up with him, and when that happened, I was like, I have no idea what to do. I was still working on my graduate education. I didn't know I was going to live. I had no idea like what to do next. And that's how I started my year. And I actually started my year meeting like day one, January 1, whenever I had let go and kind of surrendered into this reality of like anything's possible, I met my boyfriend on January 1st, or rekindled with him. And now we've been together for a while. So like with that, he treats me wonderfully. He is very much kind and supportive. He never like puts me down. And additionally, we live a rather luxurious life. Like we live in Miami. We go to a lot of cool events. Like we go to the opera, we go to Polo. And my reality as far as like that required me to let go of what I thought I wanted and step into what I actually knew I deserved. And I knew that I deserved more. I just didn't know what that was. And this is where you can get a little bit of the seeds of how to change your reality. Because a lot of it has nothing to do about what's physically around you in your mindset. And even if you're at your absolute lowest, you can still work on your belief system that you deserve more, that you are more. And that is what actually tells whatever energy is around you to basically get in check. So you can do this with money as well. Like, or you can do this with education or attracting somebody, what have you. So let's say right now you are homeless. Been there. Know what that feels like. Let's say that you have a negative bank account. Been there. I know what that feels like. All right. Let's say that you have no friends and you like feel like you're completely alone in the world. Again, been there. I know what that feels like. So whenever you are like actually seeing that as your physical reality, I understand how that can be super hard for you just to like completely do a 180. But what I need you to be like is, okay, well, this negative bank account is showing this right now, but it's going to show this number. It's going to show, you know, $500,000, or it's going to show, you know, a positive balance, or I'm going to have another bank account that shows XYZ. Okay. You can start with the negative and shift your mindset into the positive until you just completely believe in the positive. And that belief system is enough in the beginning because one day you wake up and it is the reality. So going back to last year, I didn't know where I was going to live, but I knew I deserved more and I knew I deserved to be in a nice place and that I love, you know, luxury as much as I love running, you know, barefoot in the jungle of Colombia. Like I love luxury just as much. So with that, you can have books. Let's tighten this up. There we go. So I was like, okay, where do I want to live again? I am very familiar with Miami, and I felt like, okay, maybe my chapter of Miami isn't finished, even though I lived here for like 5 years before. And I was like, okay, well, I want to live in a skyscraper, facing the ocean, you know, wake up in the morning, and that's my reality. And I kid you not, if you go to my bedroom and you look to the left, the ocean is right there. I'm pretty high up, and it is a beautiful sunset and sunrise to wake up to. That is starting in your mind. It could be a garden in the Netherlands. It could be Paris and the streets of Paris, whatever that is. But I need you to go there. Like, I need you to close your eyes. And even if it seems crazy, go there. And this is a concept that Neville Goddard actually teaches a lot as far as like, where does God live within us? And that can be kind of confusing because some people think that God is outside of you or that the creator is outside of you. But when you can really start to see yourself as the creator of your reality and the creator of your health, your mind, everything, that's when you can start to actually shift things. So in my mind, I will go and I'm like, okay, I wake up in the morning and I'm waking up and I can see kind of the ocean from the tip of my bed, very soft bed. I love my eye mask. My eye mask is my like saving grace because I sleep so much better with my eye mask. So I will, you know, take off my fluffy eye mask, and my red blanket is my favorite blanket. And even if that's all I own right now is my eye mask and my red blanket, I incorporated that as part of my reality in the future here. So, okay, I'm waking up. It's a cool temperature. It's very peaceful. Nothing's a rush. I do not check my phone first because I'm not looking for external factors telling me my reality. I'm already living in my reality. And I'm like, oh, I look to the right, and here's my partner who loves and adores me and is super handsome and, is very successful in his own right. And we get to like have all sorts of fun together, right? And I wake up and like, okay, here's my silk robe. Like, I want you to literally play it out as far as you can. And to do that as many times as possible. Whenever I go and I read people or I see people speak about this, they're like, in the morning, they want to do it. Or in the like right before bed. And I understand that for like the subconscious. But why limit yourself to that? Because the more you play in this reality, the quicker the reality of your physical world will shift. And that is kind of the magic or the secret or the like, law of attraction that people are always talking about. Is like, do it as many times as possible. Like if you are sitting, on the bus, or if you are walking down like the town streets, don't be on your phone. Like, don't look for external factors that make you like wish that you were there. I get it if you want to like glance for a second and get inspo, but like go back to your mind, go back to your creation process and leave the external validation at the door. Like really start to limit the amount of consumption that you use on useless television and, music that just doesn't serve you. Like music that, unless that was your reality, you wouldn't be happy. Like, I do this about rap and rap music in general. I understand how it can have like a catchy beat and just be really like, intense and motivating for especially like men wanting to lift in the gym. But if you listen to those lyrics, I highly doubt that that's the real reality that you want, because you hear a lot about like gluts and, having to fight to get your territory and, women like doing things like to them and like taking advantage of them and not really necessarily being at peace at any point. So unless that's truly like what you want your day-to-day reality to be like, I would highly advise to stay away from that type of music in a high amount. Now, if you listen to it for like 5 minutes because that's your fix, so be it. Just know that every single moment counts whenever you're building your future. Like, if I'm trying to personally improve and expand my consciousness and improve my physical reality, get more money, find my soulmate, I'm going to be listening to things that inspire me to move forward or teach me about that process. Like, inspired action in the correct direction is what I'm actually really trying to hone in here. Same thing with like getting in shape, okay? I'm on a Peloton right now and I'm working for it with you guys because I know that I'm a very busy woman and I've got a million things to do today, but this is valuable information and I want to share it with you all. That is inspired action. It's inspired action to talk with you guys, but also to make sure that I'm taking care of my health, because I am going for that 6-pack. I am going for that like strong, healthy body. And that takes work, right? But it starts in my belief system of I can do this. I can get on a Peloton every day. I can take walks. I can improve my nutrition. I see myself being attracted to healthy, nutritious food versus the junk food. And that can be difficult because I used to be a girl, especially during the pandemic, that if I got a tub of ice cream, I could devour that thing in the entire sitting, like watching a movie. And now I can't even tell you the last time I had ice cream, even though I was addicted to it. I loved it so much. And it's not that I was like overweight or like super heavy with doing that. It was just not a good habit for my body. It made me sluggish. It made me want to slow down. And that was showing up in other areas of my life when it came to abundance. Okay? So You really have to kind of start in your belief system of, I am already capturing this in my mind, because you will have to do very little steps in order to kind of grab it. And once you understand that it's more about the resting and the energy and the surrendering to the flow of how it happens quicker. So if you want to know how I manifest in 72 hours or less, I have an entire episode that I just did about that to make it very quick for you to start seeing the physical reality change ahead of time. But it really is honing in on this very first part of belief. Because you can go from homeless, you can go from single, you can go from overweight to living in a penthouse facing the ocean to having six-pack abs, like best body ever, like toned arms, you name it. And from worst relationship of your entire life, like a horrible person, to a guy that treats you like a goddess. But none of that starts until your belief system really changes. And you are the only one that's going to know if it actually has changed. It will be obvious as far as nothing will be happening in your life, but you will know the moment where you're like, I truly do believe that I deserve more. I truly believe that even if this means leaving what seems safe, I know that there's better out there for me. I know that I deserve more. I know I am more. And that's the beautiful sentence I want you to say all day is, I am more. I am more abundant. I am more deserving. I am more worth it. Put whatever you want at the end, but you are more. You're more than what you're seeing around you. You're more than this physical world altogether. And if you really want to start unlocking these things, it's got to start with talking with your subconscious. Your subconscious is always listening to be able to protect you, to keep you safe. So watching what your music is, watching your television, moving your body, challenging the thoughts. And if you want to know about that, there's a whole episode where I go about what if. And every single time a negative thought comes in my mind, I go, what if? For instance, I used to get really nervous when I would get comments on my social media, because I've been told a really, really, really long time that comments are always negative and that people are always going to be haters and trolls. So I would always get really tense and be like, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to comment my stuff. And that's a horrible way to think, right? But when I see new comments pop up, because you get the notification before you can actually read them, I'm like, what about if this is someone saying I helped them? Or what about if this is someone saying that they related to something I said, or they have been through a similar experience? Or what if this is an opportunity for me to expand the audience or my vision, or just to grow? Or what if they're just saying something nice or a happy emoji? All of these what ifs really start to transfer your mindset. You may have even noticed if you're watching the visual that I started smiling. I was like, what if they were being very nice to me? What if they weren't being horrible people? And that's enough. That's enough to start getting you in the right direction. And if you have a lot of negative thoughts and you keep on running down that trail, I want you to just say, what if? Please, by all means, do not use the word why. Why doesn't help anybody. What if helps everybody. When you say, why is something happening to you? You immediately get this negative connotation. You immediately feel tense and defensive. Why are you doing that, right? If you're talking to somebody else, versus if you go what if they're doing that to think of a out-of-box type of way to solve this problem, right? Or what if that makes them happy? Or what if that's their natural personality and that's how quirky they are and that's the beautiful part of what makes them them? What if is always going to serve you so much better than why. So shifting your reality whether you're becoming a millionaire or you're trying to just fix what seems to be awful around you, like this devastation, it really has to start here. And it really is possible. And it happens so quickly once you start believing. And it sounds like a perfect time to do this just because Thanksgiving is here. We can be grateful, but also Christmas season's coming up. And that's kind of the season where everybody starts to believe in miraculous things happening again and in magic. And that is actually the beauty of the season itself. So I want to change your reality. I want to see you blossom, especially as we walk into 2025. And that really goes with like, I have to start challenging your belief system. Anything that is holding you back as far as not feeling good enough or not seeing it in your physical way, we got to interrupt that cycle. So all that to say, I did my ride. I'm proud. And I am so thankful, as always, to be able to just show up authentically with you and to have a conversation. So share your stories, share your methods. Let me know if what if works for you over why. And until then, like, just step into it. Just let your mind be there day and night.